Welcome to Red Stars Report, a podcast for fans of Chicago Stars FC and a community for everyone. I am your host, LT.
And I am your co-host Liz.
So we were off last week, which was the week that the Stars played Racing Louisville at home. It was another not super fun match. They lost, and now they are at three in a row this season, and I believe eight in a row going back to last season.
Woof.
Woof. Hasn't been great. Uh, I did like the first, like 10, 15 minutes of that Louisville match. They looked like they were actually getting good pressure on them, moving the ball well. Uh, they kind of were in this like new look formationally when it came to the shape they were in the attack, where they're sort of having Taylor Malum play much higher and Ali sort of play more on the wing, um, matching with Taylor. And so they got a lot of more bodies forward. They pressured more. Um, it looked good. And then um, after Louisville scored, they gave up and went
Yep.
back to the old 4-2-3-1, whatever you want to, four two
Whatever you want to
two
call it.
two. Um, yeah, I don't know what happened. Like it looked like that goal just sort of um it just let the gas right out of the team. They just their confidence seemed shot. Uh Whatever was working wasn't working anymore. And it kind of sucked to see for the rest of the match. Them sort of just go back to what's been sort of failing this whole season.
Yeah, I don't get it because why drop back into the formation that you have struggled to get any offensive momentum after after you concede a goal. I don't understand that logic. And I continue to question the decision making from the staff when it comes to that because I don't understand it. And I get you're thinking, I don't want to give up any more goals, which you didn't, but you also didn't score. So I don't like who cares, I guess, at this point if you lose 5-0. Like at least if you're trying to get something moving offensively, I can get behind that. But when you're actively choosing to regress into a more defensive formation, I just don't see it. And it's unfortunate because I think that people are starting to question the talent on the field, which is to me not the talent's there. We're just not utilizing the talent that exists properly. And I feel like once we get Sam Staub able to play a full 90 minutes, which now we had the international break and we're going into another game this coming weekend that I feel like she's going to be closer. I have no idea how far along she is with her fitness, but she's getting close. She played into the second half in this game. So I feel like when we get a fully fit Sam Staub, that's a huge uplift. And so it's a tough way to start the season with all the players that we have out. But that being said, we have talent out there. I'm not sure what's going on with Ludmila, but she has not been as engaged, I guess, offensively as we saw when she made the move over to Chicago. And we're playing essentially the same way. So I'm not sure what's happening there. I don't know if it's a formation thing. I've tried to like focus on it when I'm watching the game, and I simply don't know what's going on. But whatever was working last season for her to be more creative and actually get the ball, we need that to happen because she is very talented. We just can't seem to get her the ball.
Yeah, I think the the struggle sort of comes from the fact that the team sort of does, the same two or three things over and over again. And I think teams have figured it out. Like, I think that's why they were successful early last season, is because they were, doing whatever Lauren's style is. And when it was implemented early last season, it was working here and there to get wins, at least, maybe not like, an extraordinary amount of goals, but at least they were winning. And I think about halfway through the season, teams just sort of started to figure it out, and they can do it better, or defend against it better. And when Ludmila joined the team, it was sort of this like spark that was, just like a wrinkle in that offense that teams had to once again sort of figure out. And I think she still is sort of trying to find what her exact role is in this style of offense. I think a lot of her, what is it, like three? I think it was 3 goals last season. I think most of them were not necessarily like precision setup goals. It was very much her using her speed, her strength, and some fortuitous bounces that led to Chicago gaining possession. And I like, not to take anything away from her. I think she's a great player. I think she's just still sort of trying to get her feet under her. It's like we just watched her in international play with Brazil. She doesn't look like she does on Chicago. Uh, it's sort of, it's like finding your way in a system is much harder than just plug and play. And I hope that she can sort of find her way, or find the players that work best around her, and gain connections with them, because she has an extraordinary amount of talent, and should be producing goals for this club. It's just not happening.
Yeah, it's just frustrating because yeah, when you watch her play for Brazil, and I know that she's playing differently there because they set up differently, and she just there's more movement. You see her a lot more. She's on the ball. She's active, and I was hoping that she would find and figure things out as the during preseason and off season, but so much has happened with Chicago, with people being out for whatever reason and injured, that I'm not holding the 3 losses against the team right now. It's frustrating the way they're playing, but there's a lot of adversity right now happening with the team. So I do want to talk about the one positive that almost changed the entire dynamic of the game. And that was Sam Staub's ball in that Hannah Anderson got a hold of, and it hit the crossbar. That would have been a fantastic goal. And Hannah, like, it's coming. Like, it's coming.
Yeah, it would have made up for the goal, the header goal that got taken away from her last season. I'm still bitter about that. I know you're still bitter about it too.
Yes.
I rational me, I've tried to explain to you exactly why that goal got taken away, but you're you're not having
I
any of it.
still don't believe it. And I'm like looking at it rationally, and I'm like, I still don't see it.
Yeah,
I
I
still
know.
don't get
I
it.
I know. I can look at it, and I think I see why it was taken away.
It was still a stupid call.
It was, yeah, they should have just given it to her. She was a rookie. Just let her have the goal. But yeah, so this one going off the crossbar, I was really excited. Had that gone in, it would have been even better. But to see Sam, like those first couple of matches that she was in, it didn't really seem like the ball was like super comfortable at her foot. Like her free kicks and stuff were not incredibly accurate. But it, as she, does it more, they're becoming more like Sam Staub prior to her injury. And this one was a perfect ball that Hannah almost got on the end of. So that was cool. There was definitely moments in the match that were um, hopeful, but nothing great. They had just a few more shots on goal than they did against Orlando, and Orlando has a defense that's 10 times better than Louisville, so that's not encouraging. And the same, they had Ludmila added uh, now this time versus the Orlando match, so you sort of expected a little more, but it's just I don't know what it is. It's just not coming. Um, Positive news as well, as I just brought up before we started recording to Liz was just right before I got on to record, I looked at the date and realized that as we're recording this, it's 45 days since Natalia Kuika had her injury. So I'll try to get info during the next press conference, but she's eligible to come off that 45-day injury list. So hopefully her return sort of marks a increased offensive presence down the sidelines and an increased defensive presence on the wings. Her presence will help immensely, I hope. She was my MVP pick last season for the club. I think she does more work than people sort of even just see. I think she does a tremendous job on the field and sort of is the anchor for this whole club. So I can't wait for her to come back. Hopefully it's soon. I obviously we don't know like her status. We don't know her fitness level or how much how much time she'd be able to play if she did come off that list this week. So we'll keep you updated on that. But that's some more positive news moving into next weekend.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting if and when she returns, if it's this week, um, who is the other outside back, who they go with
Yeah,
as the choice. That'll be another interesting interesting decision. And Justina Gaynor got the start in the
yeah.
Louisville game. So that was an interesting move as well. That was unexpected to me. And she got her first yellow card.
The yeah, the addition to Justina in the lineup, I yeah, it was surprising. Just because I didn't think it would happen. But Cam has been struggling somewhat to start off this season, not really looking like she's in the same sort of form that she was at the end of last season. So a move there um, made it. They only let up one goal. It's not like they got slaughtered like they did in the Orlando match.
They only gave
So
up 16 shots in total in the game. That's
yeah,
the thing. It's like we didn't take very many shots, but only giving up 16. Like it was not an offensive onslaught by
no,
Louisville by any means.
no. And I didn't expect it to be. They have some good offensive players, especially like Emma Sears, and then of course the rookie that as they've been playing well too. And so the loss of Bethany Balcer to them, I think, hinders their offense immensely. And you know,
And DeMello was out
and
too,
DeMello
so
was out as well because of the head injury that she had, or whatever it was.
yeah, they just called it an illness. I'm not
Yeah,
sure. I don't know what's going on there, so
yeah, yeah. That'll obviously will. I mean, we won't. She's not a Chicago player, so we won't necessarily share the updates. But hopefully, we'll get updates on her status soon because that was pretty scary a couple weeks ago with what happened to her. I think so. Yeah, 16 shots on goal like that. Chicago's defense is not atrocious. It's not like the defense that we saw in like 2020 22 or 23, or 23 specifically. Whenever
Yes,
like
23,
yeah,
23.
23 specifically. 22 was decent. 23 was bad. Um, that was a very unfortunate year. But yeah, Chicago, yeah, Chicago's defense, like whoever they throw out there, it's like it's they're obviously not like the top tier defense that you'd hope them to be, but um the offense needs to produce to be able um to sustain whatever comes the defense's way. And giving up 6 goals and then 2 goals and then 1 goal is not it
And
like
only
it's
scoring one goal
and then only
across all
scoring one
three.
goal. Yeah, it like the goals against looks like a positive trend, but uh the defense can't do everything to win you a match. They can only do so much. It's just like a pitcher in baseball. They can do
They
everything they
tried.
can.
Sam
Yeah.
Staub and Hannah Anderson tried to score in that game. They
That's true.
tried.
That's true. Because obviously every player plays defense and every player plays offense. That's how the game of soccer works. But uh, obviously there's more to the roles than just whatever the position says.
Yes.
So yeah, moving on because I don't really want to think
Enough of
about
that.
that match anymore. Bay FC is coming up this week. The first time that Chicago has played Bay FC since the historic match at Wrigley Field, and the first time that Bay FC has played Chicago since they received Penelope Hocking from Chicago. And she looks pretty good in Bay. She looked good in Chicago at times too. So what are you looking forward to when it comes to this Bay match?
I don't know. I think I'm looking forward to the battle of if we can move the ball, if we can possess, if we can move the ball down the field. I feel like we are definitely, I don't know. I just want us to score. I think we can score against, and I'm really going to be frustrated. I don't think we need to sit back how we have been. So I'm hoping to see more of what we saw in the first 10 to 15 minutes of the Louisville game compared to what we saw um, for the rest of the game. So I'm curious to see who we throw out there. As I said, if Cuica's back, who we spit outside back, and who like is Maitani healthy? And if Maitani is Maitani going to be in the midfield, and who bumps out of the midfield then? So I think there will be some interesting lineup choices and see who's fit after this international break. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to see who we have fitness wise to start this next part of the season
Yeah,
after the
because
international break.
we had the first time we saw Sam Staub back in the starting lineup, Hannah was on the bench. This time in that Louisville match, Hannah was back and B was in the midfield at times and then swapped back to the back line. So it's like we don't know who's going to be where. It's sort of it's all up in the air. It seems to be like a week of decision who gets those spots. Obviously, players are always competing for spots in training. What I'm looking forward to really is just more of the young players. Unfortunately, I'm kind of at that point. Like I hope that we see um, like Mies come back from this U23 training camp that she's been in, and continue to produce as we know that she's capable of. Hopefully, Ludmila can grow into it as well. But like I want to see more minutes from a Justina Gaynor, Mana Hayashi, um, Micayla Johnson as well, who wasn't available for the Louisville match because she's been with the U17 team. It's so like I like seeing the young players. I like seeing the new players as well. Like I want to see Maitani in the midfield and see what she can do as well. I know we got to see a little bit of her at the end of that Louisville match. But I'd like to see even more from her because I just feel like new players who didn't play in this system last year probably have just like a little more of a feel to like how to break out of the system, um, and just sort of play a little more free um, with their young, confident minds. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to hopefully not seeing a Penelope Hawking goal against us. I uh, players and revenge games against Chicago seem to always go very well for them. So I I don't know what that's gonna look like. I just hope that Ludmila plays better than Penelope because we technically have Ludmila from the money that we got from Penelope's trade. So those are the comparable players, really.
Yeah, it's hard not to make those comparisons when you know that that's what that money was for exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I do think that Bay's a decent team. I don't think their record really shows and uh really puts a it doesn't really put like a spotlight on like how good of a team they can be. They've obviously had some player changes this season and are looking to sort of be better than they were last season. They had, uh, I think, did they just make miss the playoffs last season? Like just barely, I think.
Didn't they make the playoffs last
Did
year?
they? I don't remember.
I feel like they got in, but right seventh.
Were they?
I feel
Um,
like
Let me
they,
look real quick and put a haul. Yeah, they were seventh. Okay. So yeah, they're seventh again, I believe, right now in the table, and I'm sure they believe that they're a better team than seventh, so they'll come out and prove themselves to or try to prove themselves against Chicago, who is currently in 14th.
that's last, but
Yeah, 14th. Yeah, if you don't know, 14th is dead last, but from us saying you've lost three straight in a row at the beginning of the episode, it may be a little obvious.
0 points, zero.
Yeah, 0 points. 0 points, one goal, not going super well. But to just sort of move on from the domestic stuff, what is going super well is Micayla Johnson's U17 tournament, which she scored 4 goals in 3 matches. And that's probably the most exciting thing that's happened in the last couple of weeks for this club. She scored in her first match, she scored in the second match, and she scored 2 goals in the third match, one being a PK. It's just all Micayla Johnson. She's probably a little too good for that team. Maybe should be like U20s by now, but I'm feeling like the World Cup is probably the reason she's still on the U17s and not promoted. Perhaps when the U17 or when the U20 World Cup is next year, then she'll be on the U20s. Um, but yeah, MJ's killing it, and I'm very excited about it.
It was so fun to see. I watching those games, she just has feet. She's got good footwork. Her body positioning when she plays games. And she knows how to position herself to receive a pass from her teammates. That was one thing that I noticed. She's really good at shielding off players and then getting a touch with a foot to then bring the ball past the defender that she's kind of shielding. She did that to score in the last game against El Salvador. It was just a really nice touch from a ball in, and she should have had 5 goals. She missed a penalty kick against Honduras, I believe. And so she should have had 5, which would have made her the leading scorer for the team. Instead, she was tied with Ashley Anderson. And so, but the thing that I noticed was, yeah, she scored goals, but also her passing is really good. She is an excellent passer. She knows when to shoot and when she should pass. Now, does she do that all the time? No, because she's a 17-year-old and they all want to shoot and when you're playing against a low block, it's easy to get frustrated and you just want to jam the ball past everybody. My biggest thing that I took away from watching her play, because they played against low blocks pretty much the whole tournament, is her willingness to try and pass defenders, break it down, dump it off to her teams. I was just incredibly impressed by that. And just shows that she understands what she's supposed to do. And she plays well beyond her years.
When you were talking about sort of just like her footwork, the one that like stood out to me, I think it was either her, I think it was her second goal. The way she sort of like drew two defenders in at the top of the box, and it she made it look to the defender on the outside like she was going to just um, take the ball at her feet and let it rest and then try to, make another extra pass or make a move or something. But what she did was immediately just set the ball up for herself back into the box. She just hit it right off of her foot and then accelerated right into the box, leaving the two defenders in the dust. The way that she just sort of put her back to the defender, like, okay, I'm going to take the ball on my foot. You're going to get onto my back and you're going to try to get the ball. And you knew that that's what the defender was thinking that whole time. And instead, she just accelerated immediately out of the double team and scored to the left of the keeper when it seemed like the right was the way to go. It was a great shot, great play. All of her work at her feet it's just so good. I don't know what her future is. We're obviously not going to just like throw tons and tons of expectations onto this girl, but it's it's looking great.
Yeah.
It's looking like she's going to have a promising NWSL career if she can get the right players and sort of the right team around her. She'll be in Chicago for 3 years under her contract, so
Heck yeah.
there's plenty of time to from I mean, until she's 20, she'll be in Chicago unless she gets traded or something. But I don't think we'll think about that.
Nope.
um,
Nope.
so yeah, fantastic player. I encourage everyone to watch her when she's with the U17. I encourage everyone to watch her when she's with Chicago. Just pay attention to her on the field. She doesn't seem like your average 17-year-old, which is great. I think the World Cup is in October for the U17 team. They qualified. Obviously, they won all three of their matches in this tournament, so they qualified for the World Cup. It's in October, so expect MJ to miss some matches then as well for Chicago, which is unfortunate. Hopefully, she'll be on that roster. Can't imagine that she wouldn't be on that
Yes,
roster.
you would assume. Yeah, her and Kimmy Escanio from San Diego Wave were both on that team. Yeah, the tournament runs from October 17th through November 8th. It'll be in Morocco, so that will be interesting.
Yeah, and
Um,
That's like a couple of weeks before the season ends because the
Mhm.
season ends November 1st, I believe,
And you don't know how quickly they're going to get into a camp
or November
setting
2nd.
before and
Yeah.
travel to go we don't, it's hard to predict how many games, but it's going to be a few at least.
Yeah. Do they are they going to play any matches leading up to that? Is that like usual for
You would
youth
assume that they
teams?
should, but I don't know the windows. The 17s, like, kind of just this tournament really wasn't in the window technically.
Yeah.
So they kind of just do whatever they want. It feels like they just kind of schedule things around when they can.
Yeah.
So
Because it's
I'm
not
not
usually
sure.
professionals that are
Yeah. Yeah.
hanging out with
So
these teams. But there's what, like six or something teams?
this team has two, because Escanio and um, Johnson are the ones, but all of the players that were on this roster are eligible for the World Cup. Like all of them,
Sure.
you just have to be born after January 1st, 2008. If you want to feel 100 years old, there you go. And MJ was born on the 18th of January, so made the cutoff.
Yeah, that's
She
good.
played in the 2024. So the 17 World Cup is annual. They do it every year because they want to grow the game and allow the kids to play. So they do a World Cup every year. So I thought that was an interesting thing, and they got bronze last year. So hopefully this year they can improve upon their spot. But
Yeah,
I want to talk about, before we stop talking about
sure.
MJ, that first goal that she scored in the tournament where she had her back to the goal and like wrapped her foot around upper
Oh
corner.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first, yeah, I mentioned the second goal, but that first goal in particular was impressive in the fact of just her being able to make that kind of motion towards goal and get the right hit on it so it dips back down into goal instead of just going right over the crossbar. That's fantastic.
And with no vision of the goal where the keeper was, none of that.
Mhm.
Back and just wrapped it around. I mean, it wasn't like the most powerful shot, but the
No,
placement of it was perfect.
no, but
So good.
where everyone was being drawn, even the keeper was all to that left side. So to be able to sort of turn her body and get a soft shot to that upper right corner is just impressive as as is the word we keep using.
I mean, I would not mind if Ashlyn Anderson would come on over. Also impressive, also impressive play. Just they all were fun. It was so fun to watch them. I wish that there would be more games because it was a blast watching them play. I'm glad that they televised it because I feel like I was slamming the Discord daily saying, "Hey, MJ has a game. MJ has a game. Don't
Yeah.
forget."
Yeah, I'm glad that the club was promoting it as well, which was good. Hopefully anybody who's not in our Discord or anything or doesn't follow us on social um caught when those matches were. It's she's just so great to watch, and obviously she just keeps getting into these matches for Chicago in the sort of latter half of the second half. So we don't get to see a whole lot of her. But what we have seen was promising. And so be able to sort of, watch her go up against players that um, aren't like that much of a challenge for her. Like I said, I think she's a little too good for U17. She should probably be on U20. Um,
Next
it's
year.
she just makes it look a little easy.
And that's
uh,
good. That shows how why she went pro. That's the
yeah,
thing. That's why
exactly.
it's like you can see why certain players go pro.
Yeah, and obviously, like a lot of her teammates are players that are in, like academies or high school. So to be able to be in a professional environment, learning from veteran professionals that, have been around the game for so long, to then go back to playing in those U17 matches to carry the knowledge that you get by being surrounded by pros every day. is super beneficial to her, and it translates. So keep watching MJ both domestically and internationally, and you will have a good time. Uh, I
I
promise.
sure did.
I
I
sure
sure
did as
did.
well. I got to watch the first two matches. I didn't get to see the third match, unfortunately. Obviously, I saw her highlight goal, which was also another great one. And then I didn't see her missed PK, and I didn't see her made PK. So, was her made PK a good, like, powerful shot or?
Yeah, it was a good take. It was a good
Okay,
take. It was, I mean, it wasn't blow you out of the water, but
sure.
it was a make. I will never say a made PK is a bad take.
Right,
So
that's true. It's nice that the team is selecting her to keep taking these PKs. It's good experience, good practice. So that's good. So yeah, watch
I
MJ.
wrote about that actually because I
Did you?
said that her confidence, the fact that she stepped up and took a PK in the next game after missing one, that shows how much confidence she has, which I appreciate. And I hope that we translate that over and she brings all that confidence back to Chicago because we need that on the
Nice.
offensive end.
Yeah, this podcast obviously it comes out on Tuesday morning. Liz does have an article about the U17s and MJ coming out in the morning as well. So if you're listening to this uh, when this episode comes out, it won't be out yet, but it'll be out. Would you say like 9 a.m.
Yeah, I
Central
think
Time?
9.
Okay. So yeah, 9 a.m. Central Time. Liz's article will be up about those if you're curious more about her thoughts on MJ and the U17 games overall. So check that out. During this international window, we also got to see Julia Grosso play for Canada in her hometown. She scored great goal off of a rebound. And that was just another match to watch that was full of the Julia Grosso that we wish she could play like domestically. She is playing really well for Canada. She started a few matches during the last window, and she came off the bench in this one and scored that goal. It's just like it's so annoying to watch these players domestically go internationally and look more comfortable, look more happy. Like her elation after that goal was just it was just so good. I wish she could be that in Chicago. Um, like you said at the beginning of the episode, the talent is there. It's just not working domestically for some reason with these talented players. And hopefully that changes. But Julia Grosso is another player that you should watch internationally, and you can see that she's everything that was advertised when she came to Chicago. Um, those things just have not shown up in Chicago yet.
Yeah, I did not watch the Canada game, so I can't speak much on it. I did see the goal, and I would love to see that in Chicago. I'm waiting. Like at this point, I'm waiting because it's a highly touted player, and I feel like I'm just waiting because I feel like once she sees the ball go into the back of the net, I feel like that's going to be the tipping point where something's going to click and something's going to give. So I'm just patiently waiting.
Yeah, and she for Canada plays attacking midfield, which she doesn't play for Chicago. She was kind of playing in like the 8 role in the last match, kind of in the 10 role at times. And you could, when she was talking about it after the match, after the Louisville match specifically, um, was talking about like she'll play anywhere, but she's more comfortable like where she was playing in that Louisville match. Like that's like her happy place further up the field. So um, I I would prefer that as well. I don't want to see a um, pivot six Julia Grosso. It's not in the cards for me. But Canada knows how to utilize her, and hopefully Chicago can figure out how to utilize her as well, because she's a good player, and that could do wonders for Chicago if she was just um, used a little more properly.
Yeah, I think that feels like the name of the game, and I'm hoping that the coaching staff is watching these players at their international level and seeing how they're playing them, and then how they can implement that if they're successful for Chicago. Because sitting back in a low block, mid block, whatever block is not, it's not going to work. That's not how Julia Gross is going to be successful. That's not how Ludmila is going to be successful. And I don't know. I feel like I've said it every single episode this season so far, and I don't know if anything's going to change, and it's frustrating, and I feel like the players are frustrated, as you said. They look happy at this on this international break. The players look happy. It's because they're not playing a low block or mid block. They're playing aggressively,
Playing free football.
offensively. Yes. So let's do it. Free them, Lauren. Free them.
Yeah, you mentioned Ludmila. She obviously had the tough task of going up against the United States women's national team, as she has in previous matches, and um, more notably the uh, Olympic matches that we had Ludmila, but we didn't. She hadn't played for Chicago yet, and we got to watch her uh, sort of, you know, dominate almost one of the better defenders in the league or the world, honestly, in Naomi Girma. So that was exciting to see. And then she came to Chicago and had a great run of form for those last few matches of the year before she was suspended. Um, so now she's back with Brazil again, back in the starting lineup. I thought overall, I thought she looked good. She obviously didn't get a goal. She did end up quote unquote fouling Lily Johannes and ending with a Lindsay Heaps PK. So unfortunate turn of events for her there, but I thought overall she looked sort of like she's always looked for Brazil. She looked like she was playing well, playing free. So that was good to see.
Yeah, it was fun to watch her play. Obviously, I love to watch the US play, and it's fun when there's players for Chicago playing against them because you're curious how they do. And I thought she was all over the pitch. She was playing her physical self as she always does. And yeah, I it was technically a foul, but Lily definitely sold it and got the call because I don't think if Lily doesn't fall, they're not going to call that. So she sold it. Good job, kid, I guess. Um, but yeah, I thought that that was interesting. I thought that there were a few calls in that game that they should have gone to VAR more than they did because there were some fouls that the United States had in the box that could have been called penalty kicks to give Brazil a goal, and that didn't happen. And it was just an interesting ref game, and it was very physical and chippy, as you expect with the U.S. and Brazil, and that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, there was a lot of
Fun.
fun. I mean, there were a lot of yellows, and there were a lot of no calls that maybe could have been yellows. Uh, there was a lot of no calls, a lot of calls. It was a wildly reffed game. Like to the point where like a player will, do something that won't be called a foul on one side and then gets it done to them on the other side and it gets called a foul and then vice versa. And it was nuts watching that match. I was surprised that only like what is it like +7 added time at the end of
Yeah.
the second half. I was like, I'm waiting for +15 or something. There's so many stoppages. It was crazy.
I know that we're talking Ludmila and stuff, but I want to talk about this since I will tie this to Chicago very loosely. Obviously, Alyssa Nair retired from international play,
Yes.
and this was the first cap for PTJ, Fallon Joyce. Do you believe that we have found our number one,
I
as in the US?
listen. Um, I have been a huge fan of PTJ since her days in the NWSL. Um, she plays in the Women's Super League over in England now and is having a fantastic year over there. And she got a couple of call ups prior to this. Didn't get any caps, but certainly got to be around in training. And then earlier last week, gets told that she'll be starting in this match. A funny story about her getting that news and then not telling her family that she was making the start, but they are always in the stands, watching even if she's not playing. So they got to find out when we all found out that that she was going to be starting in this match. So I think that's hilarious.
I
Um,
love that.
but as her as a player, in general, I've always been a huge fan of hers. I think she's a player that just sort of is always in the right spot as a keeper, and she's a great shot stopper as well. And she distributes the ball well with her feet. Um, Going up against Brazil in your first uh, cap with the women's national team and not having Naomi Girma or Tierna Davidson in front of you. No shade to Tara or who was playing
Sonnet.
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 Yeah, no shade to them. So I'm just saying Davidson and Girma
Different.
are the 1-2 there. They just are. Um, so she already had that kind of task up against her, and she shut Brazil out and made some great saves uh, to go along with it. I obviously, because I've been a fan of hers for so long, I'm biased, and I'll just say yes. I want her to be the number one. She's 28 years old, so she's not as young as you would think like the next generation of the goalkeeper of the women's national team was. But when Alyssa Nair became the number one, she was 28 years old. So it's been done before and it can be done again. And I am fully on the Fallon Tullis-Joyce train when it comes to being the number one keeper for the women's national team to replace our beloved uncle.
See how I tied that to Chicago? I mean, I just
And I
I
tied it
rolled
right
that right
back.
in. I think that she's number one in my eyes based on what I've seen. Even I know it's a game. I've watched her play obviously in the NWSL. And she just there's something about her and the confidence and the foot skills and how she handles herself on the field that gives me more confidence in her than unfortunately the other choices at the moment. Um, Side note, speaking of keepers, Stephanie Sparkowski, who was an NRI for Chicago, not currently on the roster. I hope that Chicago is keeping an eye on her. We obviously don't know how long Alyssa's going to play in Chicago. We don't know the answer to that, but she got called up to the U23 camp for the U.S. women's national team. So that's not a bad person to keep hanging around the club here. So I just wanted to give her a shout out for that call up. That's awesome. And
Yeah.
hope that it went well for her because she was in camp this preseason.
Yeah, to be around that environment is great for anybody. Mies was also
Hmm.
on that camp for the U23s, so she got to be with Stephanie again as someone who she went through preseason with her. So yeah, they should definitely Chicago should be keeping an eye on everybody, whether they're available or not. They they should be keeping an eye on who the next keeper in Chicago is going to be. Alyssa's not going to be around forever. She could be around one, two, three, four, I don't know,
7.
7, 10. She'll be playing in her 50s. I don't know. I don't know how long
Also,
she's going to
while
be
we're at
around.
it, shout out to Ella Masser, who got to go coach with Emma Hayes in this international break. So that's exciting for her. Emma drafted her when Emma was the coach in Chicago. So it's kind of a full circle thing. Ella talked about it, that it was a full circle thing for her to get the call up. Like, obviously, Emma respected her as a player to draft her, and now she respects her enough as a coach to bring her into the team. That's excellent experience for her, and to bring that what she learned back to Chicago is going to
Oh,
be super valuable as well.
yeah, absolutely. Um, Not just players getting experience in the international windows, but coaches as well. Um, Ella's a well-respected coach around the league. She was a well-respected player. People loved Ella Masser when she was playing for Chicago and for the national team for a little bit. And so for Emma to recognize everything that she's been doing as an assistant in the NWSL to then bring her as in as an assistant for the women's national team is just it's huge because everything that she'll get to learn from Emma as she obviously has learned from her whole career, she'll continue to bring back to Chicago, and hopefully that things that she learns will help translate to Chicago's players and Chicago's playing style and stuff. Because yeah, anything internationally is typically more advanced and I don't know another word for it, but yeah, she's going to learn a lot more internationally than she would domestically.
Yep, I agree. I'm excited. I was pumped when I saw that.
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think the international players that Chicago has, like obviously prior to her injury, Natalia Kuika was playing for Finland. Um, Nadia Gomes also got called in to Portugal again. And then hopefully, as Sam Staub continues her recovery and extended play and renewed form, hopefully we'll see another call up for her when it comes to the women's national team. I would absolutely love to see Sam Staub back with the national team because one, she's a fantastic player, and two, I'd like to talk about the women's national team again without having to talk about the team on the other side, like having to talk about Ludmila to sort of at least somewhat talk about the women's national team.
I mean, if it would happen next window at the end of May, I will be at the game in St. Paul, so that would be super cool. So let's let Sam Staub get called up then.
And they need
Yes.
defenders right now.
Yes,
They're
now with
they're
Tierna out
they're
with the
running
ACL
thin.
injury, it's tough. So,
And I mean,
yeah.
Emma's going through what was it? 17th player under Emma got their first cap.
Yeah,
Um,
Avery Patterson.
yeah, so there's a lot of young players, a lot of veteran players who are getting their first opportunity at the national team. So we know that Sam's been capped before, and hopefully even after her injury, they've still been keeping an eye on her because that would be wonderful for her to sort of continue to have that opportunity available to her as her career sort of moves into its prime, you know.
I agree. Avery Patterson had a heck of a day. She got stuck in an elevator
That whole,
before the
that whole
game.
that whole thing was crazy. Her getting stuck in an elevator, and then it was Becky
And Alana Cook.
and Alana Cook. That's what it was.
And it was like Final Destination, like Fear Unlocked, where they had to slide out of the thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, what a way to sort of start your women's national team career, being stuck in an elevator with Becky Sauerbrunn and Alana Cook, and then get your first cap that night. That's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
That's incredible. Um, yeah, so well, obviously there wasn't like a whole lot to talk about news wise this week. I know people probably didn't want to hear us talk about the Louisville match that was over a week ago at this point. But yeah, we will probably the Bay's coming up this weekend. That'll be exciting. International plays still going on. If you're listening to this episode when it comes out, the U.S. plays again that day. So watch that. Watch Ludmila. Watch the other players on both of those teams that are not with the Stars because it's just fun to watch them in general, especially um, the U.S. Women's National Team and their sort of new era right now. And maybe PTJ will get another get another
I'd love it.
swing at it. I
I
would love to
doubt
see
it,
that. I don't
but
think so, though. Yeah, but maybe next time. I
maybe.
want to keep an eye on PTJ.
St. Paul. St. Paul.
Yeah, that'll be nice. That'd be very nice. Um, so yeah, we'll be back next week. We'll recap the Bay match then. But make sure that you are subscribed to our channel across all podcast platforms and YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you leave a like so others can find our content who also love this club. Don't forget to join our Discord. Great community. We spend a lot of time not just talking about the Stars, but women's sports and women's soccer in general. Go to redstarsreport.com to keep up with the news and more opinion pieces between the episodes. Liz, like we mentioned, Liz has one that's coming out today as well. So check that out. We'll be back next week to recap the match against Bay, and we'll see you then for another Red Stars Report.